Hey guys, welcome back to Frankenstein. Today we're going to talk about the two prefaces to the novel. One written when it was first published in 1818 and a second one written in 1831. Fun fact, Mary Shelley did not actually write both of these prefaces. She only wrote the second one in 1831. We're not going to have time to go into the 1831 preface, but do make sure to read that. It's really well written. It's interesting. I think you'll enjoy it. We're going to instead focus on the 1818 preface, which is written by not Mary, but Percy Shelley. Now, he's going to write it not in the voice of Percy. He's writing it as if he wrote it, as if he's Mary Shelley. So there's a little bit of a trick going on there. Get out your book and let's follow along. I do want to point out to you again this website, which is a fantastic website. And it has, if you don't have a paper copy of the book, you can go here and you can get the novel for free. I want to show you just a couple things on here. You can pause the video if you need to get online and check this out. So go ahead and do that. So we're going to look today at Texts of Frankenstein. So if you go here, if y'all click on Texts of Frankenstein, it's going to bring you to these two. Click on the first edition, which is the one that we're using from 1818. And when you do, it's going to bring you to this page, which is the start. If you want to go back, there's the contents. Just click on that. And of course, if you want to move forward, just use these right, left arrows. So anyhow, we're going to go forward, and this is the preface. I just want to show you one thing really quick, and that is if you're confused at some point in the novel, like what is she talking about? What does that mean? This resource is amazing because they've actually have all sorts of notes on different things in the novel, including like different words, phrases, expressions in the actual text. So for instance, this Dr. Darwin that's mentioned here, if you click on that, it's going to take you to a brief description of who Dr. Darwin is. And yes, he is related to the famous Darwin. This is actually Charles Darwin's grandpa. So anyhow, as you guys are reading through here, you might just, even if you don't use this like for your main reading, do go up here and do check on things in here because it could have a little bit more insight and you could use that in your writing as well. So let's talk about Percy's preface from 1818. Percy's going to do a lot of things in this preface. He's writing in the voice of his wife, but it's actually him who's putting this together. He's going to try, I think, in my reading, and you can disagree with me, and perhaps Percy Shelley scholars might disagree with me, so feel free to disagree. But I believe that Percy is trying to situate this story as being something that, no, it couldn't happen, but maybe it could. And this is not like the crappy Gothic novels that people are reading. This is literature. This is something bigger than that. Those to me are some things that are going to happen to him. So we're going to read parts of this. I might skip over some of it just for time's sake. But let's start off with paragraph 1 of the preface from 1818. And basically he's going to start off with, hey, it could happen. This is a really important move that we try to do in fiction, right? We try to do something that makes people think it could happen so that they're more invested in the story. And he's basically saying, hey, it could happen because Darwin. So just read this first paragraph with me. He says, the event on which this fiction is founded has been supposed by Dr. Darwin and some of the physiological writers of Germany as not of impossible occurrence. So, hey, it could happen, but then he goes on quickly to say, but not really. So, I shall not, second sentence, I shall not be supposed as according the remotest degree of serious faith to such an imagination. So I don't even, that's not going to happen, right? So it could happen, not really, but we're going to have fun with it. Yet in assuming it, yet in assuming it as the basis of a work of fancy. So it's still a really cool idea, and I'm going to go ahead and use it. All right. I have not, yet in assuming it as the basis of a work of fancy, I have not considered myself as merely weaving a series of supernatural tales. So I think that's something important for us to understand, is that he's trying to distance this novel, Frankenstein, from some of the stuff that was out there. This isn't, if you want to be snotty, he's saying, this isn't Twilight that I'm writing. I'm writing great literature. I'm an artist. And this is real literature. I don't know what Percy sounded like. No doubt like that. No doubt not like that. But anyhow, he says, I've not considered myself as merely weaving a series of supernatural terrors that's typical to Gothic literature. The event on which the interest of the story depends is exempt from the disadvantages of a mere tale of specters or enchantment. So a tale of specters or enchantment, that's Gothic novels. And specters would include ghosts. Enchantment would be magic. So he talks about the disadvantages of them. He's slamming a bit on them. It was recommended by the novelty of the... Sorry, guys, I keep moving this thing. It was recommended by the novelty of the situations which it develops. And however impossible as a physical fact, affords a point of view to the imagination for the delineating of human passions more comprehensive and commanding than any which the ordinary relations of existing events can yield. That's a really long sentence. We don't have time to go into it. Percy, be a little more concise. But you get the basic idea, right? There's a possible scientific basis for this, but not really. Still, let's go for it. And what I'm going to write, Mary Shelley, what I'm going to write isn't just a series of supernatural tales. So what he does in the next paragraph is Percy, the serious artiste, positions the novel among the greats, among Homer and Shakespeare and Milton. You guys, just for time's sake, you can read that on your own. But again, right, he's saying, he's putting himself and his wife's work, I should say, he's putting this novel into pretty good company because, again, this is literature. Mom, I just really need to focus on my art right now. Percy now starts talking about the origins of the novel, and Mary Shelley is going to go into so much more depth and write such a better preface. I've said that before. Let me say it one more time. But let's at least look at what he has to say. He talks about the origins of the novel. He says, the circumstance in which my story rests was suggested in casual conversation. It was commenced partly as a source of amusement and partly as an expedient for exercising any untried resources of mine. Other motives were mingled with these as the work proceeded. Okay, so this is where the story comes from. It's a laugh. We were having a laugh. Other motives happen, but initially it's for laugh's sake, I guess you could say. Not exactly, but let's go with it. It says, I am by no means indifferent to the manner in which whatever moral tendencies exist in the sentiment of or characters it contains shall affect the reader. Yet my chief concern in this respect has been limited to the avoiding of the enervating effects of the novels of the present day. So again, you're having this thing where he distances the novels from what he considers, the bad novels of the day. So, there were people who thought we try to get everyone to read books, but there was a period of time where people were kind of concerned about the books that people read. It was a very popular form of entertainment. We're worried about the kids reading the novels. It's just kind of a different age from our own in so many ways. Although we still worry to some extent about the novels people read, right? Blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, so let me try and skip through some of this just for time's sake. Oh, let's go to this last thing. The opinions which naturally spring from the character and situation of the hero are by no means to be conceived as existing always in my own conviction. Nor is any inference justly to be drawn from the following pages as prejudicing any philosophical doctrine of any kind. So Percy distances the novel from the enervating effects of the novels of the present day, from the crappy novels of the day, but he also, I think, distances the author from the narrator or the author from the characters. Look at that thing again, y'all, right? He says, the opinions which naturally spring, yada, yada, are by no means to be conceived as always existing in my own conviction. I need to move that thing off there. That's annoying. Nor is any inference justly to be drawn from the following pages as prejudicing any philosophical doctrine of whatever kind. So, again, I think what he's doing here is it's a distancing move, and it's really important for us to understand this in literature, right, and in fiction, that what the characters in a book or a movie or a play say or do not necessarily reflect what the writer of the play or the movie or the book actually believes. The narrators in this novel are fictional. They're Robert Walton, Victor Frankenstein, and the monster. Mary Shelley writes them. She gives them words to say, but their words are not necessarily a reflection of what she personally believes. I think Percy does that for a lot of reasons. I'm guessing here. I don't know. But I think possibly one of them would be because the novel really deals with some controversial themes at that time. You have a man creating a man without God, and you have a man creating a man without a woman, and that's really controversial for this particular context. So he provides some distance to it. We get now in the last part, for time's sake, I only got a few minutes left. We got a bit more of the origin story of the novel. You can read this last paragraph and you can see that it's set in Geneva and the Alps. He says it's a subject also of additional interest to the author that the story was begun in the majestic region where the scene is principally laid. A lot of the story is going to be based in this area. And in society which cannot cease to be regretted. Society means the friends that he was with in Geneva. I passed the summer of 1816 in the environs of Geneva. Here's a picture of modern day Geneva from Wikipedia, and you can see the beautiful Alps in the background. Here's a painting from 1858 of Geneva, so you get a little bit more of a context to it. So that's the setting. And then the company is Mary, that he talks about, the delightful company. Mary, Percy, and Claire Claremont. She's Mary's stepsister, Lord Byron, and Dr. Polidori. Here's actually, I haven't shown you a painting of Claire Claremont. She and Lord Byron would have an affair, and they would have a child who would not live all that long. So anyhow, that is what he's talking about. And in the society which cannot cease to be regretted, it's those folks. I passed the summer. The season was cold and rainy, and in the evenings we crowded around a blazing wood fire and occasionally amused ourselves with some German stories of ghosts, which happened to fall in our hands. There's some discussion about this being the book that he's referencing. So just have fun with that word and go around the house today and just say it periodically. Phantasmagoriana. You can make it like a spell, I guess, if you want. But anyhow, have fun with that. Where were we? Okay. These tales excited in us a playful desire of imitation. Two other friends, a tale from the pen of one of whom would be far more acceptable to the public than anything I can ever hope to produce, and myself agreed to write each a story founded on some supernatural occurrence. If I have one more chance to slam on Percy, I'm going to take it. That line about this two other friends. So remember, he's writing this as Mary Shelley. So Mary isn't one of these two other friends. I think he's talking about Lord Byron, but it's a tale from the pen of one of whom would be far more acceptable to the public than anything I can ever hope to produce. You can think about whether that's a smart thing to say about the woman you love. So the weather, however, suddenly became serene, and my two friends left me on a journey among the Alps and lost in the I can't say that word, the magnificent scenes which they present, all memory of their ghostly visions. The following tale is the only one which has been completed. Here's a picture of Mont Blanc, beautiful Alps, and this is the area that they're going to be walking around in. So that would truly be inspiring for someone to write. Mary Shelley's preface. We don't have time to go into this one. It's real. I love it. Just read it. Those numbers, page 168 and so on, those are based on the Norton edition. Read it for what she talks about, especially the origin story. You can look at it for maybe something about science fiction. The role of dreams. This whole story begins as a ghost story contest, but her actual vision is going to come from a dream. So it's pretty cool. Anyhow, you guys rock. Have a great day. Talk at you soon. Bye.